In the frozen northern lands of Europe, there are several tales of the young warrior named Sigurd. Sigurd had many adventures, but his most famous tale was his slaying of the dragon Fafnir, thus making him known to all in the land as Sigurd the Dragon Slayer. Sigurd was born to his mother Hjordis, who had to flee to the land of Hjalprek because her husband, Sigmund, died in battle to the wicked king Lingvi after his sword, Gram, was torn in two by Odin. Hjordis took the broken blade with her when she fled and met the royal smith, Regin, who would also become Sigurd's mentor. Sigurd grew up strong in the kingdom and wanted to know what happened to his father, Sigmund. While his mother would not tell him what had happened, Regin told Sigurd that he would tell him what happened to his father under one condition: that Sigurd slay the dragon Fafnir and share the gold with him. This way, Sigurd could start to build his own renown and a home, and Regin could expand his business as a smith. Sigurd explained to Regin that he would be more than happy to slay the dragon, but he would need a sword without equal in all the land. So Regin agreed to create the sword for Sigurd, and he immediately went to his forge to begin his work. 2 days later, he gave the sword to Sigurd and told the young man to test it. Sigurd struck the sword against the anvil in Regin's shop, and it immediately shattered from Sigurd's immense strength. This happened 4 more times before Sigurd became frustrated and almost gave up. Hjordis noticed Sigurd's frustration and took the broken pieces of Gram to Regin to be reforged. Regin spent many days reforging the blade, but when he finally finished, its gilded edges glowed golden, and its blade seemed to sing whenever it was swung. Sigurd took the blade in his hand and swung it at the anvil. Not only did it cleave the anvil in two, but it also sunk deeply into the ground with ease. Sigurd was most happy with this new blade. Regin then told Sigurd the story of his father's death at the hands of King Lingvi, and how his sword was broken, the very sword that Sigurd now held. Sigurd immediately went to King Alv and asked for men and a ship to avenge his father. The king, knowing that Sigurd would go either way, agreed to Sigurd's request and allowed him troops and ships in order to protect him. Over the next few months, Sigurd waged a war on King Lingvi's kingdom that saw Sigurd victorious. Sigurd was able to not only gain vengeance for his father, but was also rewarded by the people of the land with a portion of the evil king's gold and wealth. Sigurd returned home as a hero. Sigurd, however, did not forget about his promise to Regin, though, and the two began talking about Fafnir the dragon. Regin told Sigurd that Fafnir was once Regin's brother, but that his immense greed for the gold that he stole was what made him the dragon he is today. Regin further explained that the gold he stole was given to him and his family by the gods, Odin, Loki, and Hoenir, as repayment for a misdeed done to his brother Otr. That when Regin's father, Hreidmar, took the gold, but mourned for his son, that Fafnir stole the gold in the night and was cursed for his misgivings. Sigurd listened to the tale intently and understood why Regin wanted the dragon's destruction, and, wasting no time, he then told Regin that they should head out immediately to Fafnir's lair so as to begin scouting the area for the best mode of attack. While scouting, Regin and Sigurd noticed that Fafnir would leave his lair every day, belching toxic smoke through the air and letting his acidic drool fall to the road and sizzle as it left holes in the dirt. Fafnir was a large gray and purple dragon with a broad head and a large bulbous body. His belly dragged against the earth as he moved forward with ponderous, loud steps. Fafnir would go to the local spring, drink from its waters, and hunt for something to eat before going back to his cave to sleep for the rest of the day with his gold. So, Sigurd took his gear and waited in the road one night for Fafnir to wake up, not wanting to fight the dragon in his own lair where the poisonous smoke would fill the cave quickly. However, an old man with a wide-brimmed hat and an eye patch took notice of Sigurd in the road that night and asked him what he was doing. Sigurd replied that he was waiting for Fafnir the dragon to come out so that he could fight and slay the beast. The old man nodded his head intently and stroked his long beard and told Sigurd that he may be better suited to dig a trench, for Fafnir never really looked down, but only forward, and to lay in the trench and attack Fafnir from underneath to avoid his poisonous breath and acidic spit. Sigurd thought about this for a moment and closed his eyes while thinking for only a second, and when he opened them again to thank the stranger, he was gone. Confused, yet determined, Sigurd began digging a trench large enough for him to lay down in, and then rested in it for the rest of the night. When dawn broke the next day, he heard a roar, and the ground began to shake as Fafnir moved from his cave. When the dragon was immediately over Sigurd's hiding spot, Sigurd drew his sword and thrust upwards directly into Fafnir's heart. Gram was sharp enough and powerful enough to penetrate the dragon's steel-like scales and through his dense, powerful muscles. Sigurd was then drenched in the dragon's blood, which then gave Sigurd the strength and power to move the mighty beast. As Fafnir lay dying, he asked Sigurd who he was and why he had come to his den. Sigurd told him his name and that he had come to take back the gold that rightfully belonged to Regin and his family. Fafnir chuckled weakly and told Sigurd that he and Regin both betrayed their father for the gold, and that Fafnir was cursed with the gold because he had put on a cursed ring from the stash that turned him into the dragon he now was, and that Regin would betray him too. Shocked, Sigurd refused to believe the dying dragon. Regin then came up the hill congratulating Sigurd for his bravery and victory and told the young man to embrace him. The two hugged, and as Sigurd clasped his adopted father's back, he felt a knife attempt to penetrate his back. The magic of the dragon's blood had turned Sigurd's skin as tough as steel, just as Fafnir's had been, and the knife bounced off of Sigurd's now impervious skin. Sigurd then knocked Regin out with the pummel of Gram and tied his criminal parent up, collected the gold from a now-gone family, and took Regin back to face trial for his crimes. Sigurd's adventures would continue, but for now we shall only speak of the heroic dragon slayer's first saga.